brothers on a comedy path. All jokes aside, we about to change the math. Real talk plus no filter equals not your usual chatter. From sports to politics, all subjects matter. Never shallow, we about to go into the deep end. Get ready to dive in, go ahead, grab a friend. Now this is grown people business, keep them kids inside. Now that's debatable, jump on, it's time to ride. Yeah, now that's debatable. Now that's debatable. Here we go. Time to start the show.
Welcome back. Happy Monday to the master debaters out there. There is Dion Curry. Here I am, myself, Mr. Sidney Smith. Happy to be back with you guys again for another fabulous Now That's Debatable show, podcast, however you are thinking of it and however you might be catching this. Thank you guys. Mary's already jumping in first, as always. I can always count on if Mary's able to watch, which 99.9% of the time she is. She's going to be the first one to chime in. So thank you, Mary. Hopefully we're going to take a couple of minutes here and let some more folks pop in. Oh, there's number 2 right there. Danielle has jumped in, says, hi guys, glad I could make it tonight. We are happy to have you as well. It's going to be a fun show. It's going to be a fun one. We got a list. You know, we enjoy our list. I think this might be the best one that Dion has found in a while. I am looking forward. Dion and I were talking about it doing a pre-show, and I said I can't even guess who he's going to pick as his number 1. But we're going to count it down from least to best. So we'll get to that. If you do not or have not seen the list, what's up, Malay? If you do not know what I'm talking about and you're part of the group, jump onto the group page. You will see the list. Dion posted it just a few minutes ago. You guys will be able to play along with us. What I do ask is that you guys wait till the show starts. Then you guys start chiming in with us, hopefully here. And so we can all have some fun and do it together. Craig Martin, what's good, bro? Is there? He says, what's going on, Sidney? Just living life, man. We got a great show, like I said, lined up. And then later on, I'm going to talk with Dion about my special that we just shot over the weekend. It was a fabulous night. That's how I feel about it. I'm looking forward to hearing what Dion thinks about it. Dion was here. He emceed tonight. I got rave reviews on Dion and how well he did, so I'll share some of that too. But it's going to be a fun night, so you guys stick with us. Click that share button if you haven't done so yet. Oddly enough, this is the most rest I've gotten in about the entire year. So I feel, first time my eyes and my mind feels awake because I got a chance to get some rest in since Saturday. So anyway, with all that said, Dion, how are you? I know you fresh back to Indy, flying out of here this morning. How you feeling, brother?
I am not rested, unlike you. I'm exhausted. I don't know if you guys can tell, but my voice is went out Saturday night afterward, and I'm slowly getting it back. But I'm telling you, I got there Thursday. I had just a great, 4 days hanging out with you, seeing you film your special. It was a lot of fun. Meeting a bunch of new people, seeing some people I had met already. It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. And then the plane ride back was not as much fun. We had one of those flight attendants who liked to crack jokes over the intercom. She was not funny, and she was really annoying. And then the guy sitting next to me on my right was a spread eagle kind of guy, so his leg keeps going into my space. And the woman sitting to my left in the aisle seat, she was, you know how dogs, when they chase things in their dreams, their legs be moving. She was doing that with her arms the whole freaking flight. So she read for about 20 minutes, fell asleep, and then her arms were just flinching all over the place. So it was a very long 3.5 hours. It took people too long to get on the plane, so we missed our push-off date. So we had to wait an extra 10 minutes. That was annoying. So it was a rough morning this morning. I flew out pretty early, but I'm here now and I'm ready to go after a really great weekend, minus the flight home.
Man, it was so much fun, and we're going to stay on this for a minute, guys, and then we're going to get to the show. I promise. I see you guys are rolling in with your comments. So thank you, Rick. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Danielle, as well. It was so much fun. You were talking about how much fun you had. I was thinking when you were speaking, you've been here so much at this point. You've met so many people. It's got to be like a mini reunion for you every time you come to Phoenix. Because when you come, if you're not bogged down with work or vice versa, we try to get out so you can see, people that you've already known for a while now. But it's got to be like a mini reunion for you at this point.
It was, especially a Saturday night, seeing Malay, seeing Therese, seeing Slim, Dave, Mary, Ed, who am I missing? Anthony,
Yeah,
um,
Reg.
Reg. I'm missing somebody else. Lotus
Lotus.
and August. Seeing them, it was great. So,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun, man. I'm proud of you. I thought it went really well. We'll talk about it later, but
Yeah.
just up front, I want to say that I'm proud of the work that you did, how you put it together, and hopefully, when you get done with all the editing, it comes out exactly how you want it to.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I appreciate you again, brother. And like you said, we'll get to it. If you guys are interested in any of that, stick around. We'll talk about that later on in this show. All right, man. Again, like I said at the start of the show, Dion is the list king for Now It's Debatable. Always pops up with something. I'm pretty sure he's got some little children working in a mine somewhere, coming up putting these lists together. He's got one coming up with the list. The other one does all the photoshopping, and then the third one has the task to make sure he gets it out to Dion before the end of business day. And
No, you so old school. I got AI to do it now. I'm not paying any workers anything. I'm getting it all for free.
again, see, I told you, capitalist. Look at you. I told you. Long gone is the bootstrap. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps, Dion. Dion is out for
Hey,
self.
the first joke I ever heard you tell was how you hate other people's kids, and I think that's why we're friends because it resonated with me because I don't like other people's kids either.
I'm not gonna bring that up because you're gonna bring up that shirt again. All right, look, let's go ahead and jump into the list. um, let's get to some comments real quick before we do. Rick says Denzel, always Denzel. Mary says it was amazing. Dion was the best host. Danielle says
Thank you,
Angela
man.
as Tina. Mary says I'm very proud of both of you. Thank you, Mary. And Rick says Dion, you need edibles or shots. People suck. So so what? I don't. All right, all right.
No, I don't do edibles. I need to know exactly how much I ate or smoked or whatever edibles. You never know, man.
You're right, right. You don't know how much you're getting.
Everybody's scale is different.
All right, let's go ahead and jump into the list. So the list, if you have not seen it or you cannot see it, is who did the best portrayal. We have Jamie Foxx as Ray Charles, Angela Bassett as Tina Turner, Denzel Washington as Malcolm X, and J Lo as Selena. Again, Dion and I are going to go from least to best in our own eyes, and you guys are welcome to handle it however you plan on handling it yourself. Dion, sir, I think we both agreed on who's coming in fourth place, but I will let you go with your reasoning on why.
All right, so he and I both agreed that it's J Lo, and my very specific reason for this is because I don't really, I was never a fan of Selena. I know I've seen the movie, but I don't remember hardly any part of the movie other than like when she's like in a lounge. Like I think it's near the beginning of the movie. I could be wrong. This is how long ago since I've seen it. I'm going with J Lo simply because that movie didn't leave an indelible mark on me. From everybody who I've talked to who loves this movie, she did an incredible job portraying Selena. I just don't know that much about her. I can tell you this: going to meet you at Tailgaters yesterday, I had a Mexican Uber driver, and he was singing. It could have been Selena, but he was so tone deaf and awful. He whistled one entire song, and when I tell you he didn't go up or down. It was literally
A lot of wind in there.
yeah, and it was he made a 20-minute ride seem like 2 hours. It was awful. And as we're pulling up to the tailgaters, he starts hacking. I'm like, oh God, get me out of here. I'm so happy I didn't get sick this time, but if I did, I'm pretty sure it'd have been because of him.
You know the outbreak monkey drove you to tailgate. That's what it is, bro. I know. I imagine I know more than you do about Selena. She was the Mexican Madonna, I believe, that for them. She was very very popular over in Mexico. She broke through with some hits. But that was stuff I learned after watching the movie. So like I wasn't well informed on her ahead of time because it just wasn't for me at that time. But she had a beautiful voice. She was a beautiful girl, and I almost certain pictures you see, like the one they have posted here, J Lo looks pretty similar to her, and I thought J Lo did a good job in the movie. And there again, some great songs. Love the story. I mean, it's not the most original premise of a movie, but it was still a decent movie. But if you're talking J Lo, Jamie Foxx, Angela Bassett, or Denzel, there's unless all three of them decided they didn't want to take the win, there's no way she beats them. So J Lo has to come in fourth for no other reason than who wouldn't come in fourth other than her.
Yeah, I mean, no disrespect to Miss Lopez, but in the company that she's currently keeping in this list, she got no chance.
Jenny never left the block in this list. So, who you got at number three, brother?
See, now this to me is the toughest choice right here because whoever comes in third could possibly come in first. This is how close these next three are,
That's
in
what I
my
said.
personal opinion. However, I'm going with Denzel as Malcolm X as number three.
Now I know who's going to be your number one. I'm not going to say who I think, but if I nail it right, I'm going to say I got it. Now I got a feeling who's going to be your number three.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I'm going with Denzel. This movie, Malcolm X, was a phenomenal film. He really nailed his mannerisms. But as far as all the other characters on this list, I think he's the worst when it comes to the actual look of Malcolm X, and I think that's why I'm knocking him down to third, simply because everybody else looked like their character for the most part, as close as they could possibly get without going over. Whereas Denzel comes up a little bit short in the appearance category for me, even though they try to do the little red hair. He's too dark skinned to pull off Malcolm X. Now he nailed the mannerisms and the speech patterns very, very well. And the overall movie itself is a film I could watch over and over and over again. But when it comes, again, like I said, it's the company that you keep. Ray and Angela, I mean, what can you do? I mean, Denzel's the greatest actor on this list by far, but when it comes to this list, he's third place. I'm sorry, Mr. Washington.
I, sir, am going to concur. And after this, I'm going to get to some comments, guys, so keep them rolling in if you have any. I'm going to concur with you on that. Number three, and you guys give us some emojis if you have anything out there. If you agree, you disagree, if you don't want to say anything, thumbs up, smiley face, whatever. The thing I'm going to say about Denzel, this is going to sound so stupid. I can't believe I thought of it, and I'm going to say it. The problem with Denzel and why he comes in third on this list for me, because I think you're right, he's the best actor on the list. I won't say easily because Angela Bassett is very good, Jamie Foxx is very good too, but Denzel is always Denzel. So even when he plays Malcolm X, you can give him all the red hair you want. That is still Denzel. You see it. It comes through. Like, I remember hearing someone say, well, I don't know if Denzel is the greatest actor because when he does it, it's just Denzel being Denzel. That's because he's so fucking great. He surpasses whatever you thought this fucking thing was gonna be. I don't care if he's playing in Mo Better Blues, Spike Lee's flick, or if he's in Glory being a slave, getting beaten at one tear. Like, nobody cries one tear like Denzel.
You gonna be a swamp running nigga the rest of your life?
Right, the more your friend. There are people who are so iconic. Like, no one cries one tear like Denzel, and nobody cries and creates snot bubbles like Viola Davis. Like, there's certain things about great actors and actresses you can't. And so, as good as Denzel is, and as good as that movie is, and you're right, it's such a phenomenal film. He's a phenomenal actor. It is Denzel playing Malcolm X, and two icons. And I don't know, Denzel kind of comes through a little bit more, maybe, than Malcolm.
I wholeheartedly agree with you with the fact that Denzel's his stature. It's very hard to separate Denzel from Malcolm and Malcolm from Denzel, just because of how iconic he is in all the films that he plays. My least favorite movie of his, Flight, where he plays I hated that movie. I watched it I hated it, but he did a good job in it. He was a believable drunk pilot, but at the same time, I didn't feel like I was watching whoever the pilot was that he was supposed to be. I felt like I was watching Denzel make a bunch of bad choices, and getting away with it because he's fucking Denzel Washington. So I wholeheartedly agree with your assessment that he just doesn't separate enough from the character he's supposed to be portraying.
I've heard it so many different times, and I'm sorry to stay on this, guys. We're going to get to your comments if there are any. I'm going to check the screen here in a second, so type them up. Um, I've heard so many other actors talk about Denzel and how cool he is. And I heard someone, I can't think of who it was, they said, you see Denzel at any event, when he's coming, people just move out the way. Like, he just, like, they say, like, everybody just wants to get out the way and watch him walk because he's just so smooth and he's just got that charisma about him and so on and so forth. One of my favorite stories about Denzel is, I think I've shared it on the show before, and if not, I think I've shared it with you though, Dion, is that when he was coming up, he told his agent or manager, whatever, get me every script, I want to say Harrison Ford at the time, turns down. Get me every script so I can get my hands on it. Because he wanted an opportunity to play better roles. If you've, Marlon Wayans breaks this down perfectly on The Breakfast Club, I believe, late last year, early this year, in terms of how scripts move through the hands. And if it's a good script, it moves through all of the white actors' hands first, the Leonardo DiCaprio's, so on and so forth. And as it gets passed, because nobody wants it or they can't do it time frame wise or whatever, once it makes it through all the good white actors to the bad white actors, then it shifts over to the black actors and works its way through all the black actors from good to bad. And he says something that I never really thought about. Sometimes you see these actors, they keep making shit movies. You're like, these movies suck. Why you keep making? Well, this is the only thing they can get their fucking hands on, in a lot of ways. Because anything good has already been taken by so many people ahead of them in that pipeline. So that was Denzel's brilliant thinking. Get me everything that he passes up on, and I want to see it. I want to take a shot at it. And obviously, it's done great things for his career at this point.
So I've done a little bit of TV, and there are certain guest characters that people want to get, and they have to audition. But normally, the director or the producer or the creator of the show, they all have somebody in mind that they want to play a special guest person. Now that person still has to audition for it, but normally that person pretty much gets it if they're available to do it. Now, some actors do bomb that audition. I've seen that happen before where they're like, we're going to go with somebody else just because, we wanted you, but you're not pulling it off the way, we think the character should go. So when you talk about how scripts get passed down, I've seen it personally where it's like, we thought you would be great, but we're going to go in a different direction. And a lot of times, that ends up becoming a breakout role for the next person who gets it. So, that's part of TV in Hollywood that most people don't really think about, is that some of the most famous actors that you know of and their famous roles was supposed to go to somebody else, but they couldn't do it for whatever reason. And then boom, now you got a new star.
Right, 100%. Ricky says, I enjoyed them all so much. Oh, I'm sorry. Ricky's saying for travel, the edibles for travel. That's what he was. That was his advice. Or do some shots. And Rick, great advice. I know some people who do either or, and some people who do both. I myself can't do edibles. Never have. I definitely can't do shots or drink before. I do not like drinking before I get on a plane. I don't like being hungover. I don't like any of it.
I don't do alcohol on a plane. I did it one time, and when we landed, I got motion sickness, and I know exactly where it was from. It was drinking on the plane, and I normally just go to sleep, but these two people I sat next to today were just busybodies, and ugh.
Wade joins us. What's up, Broham? He says, "What up, guys? What's going on, brother?"
Yo.
Facebook user says Angela and Tina. That's number one for them. I don't know who said that. Can you see a name?
It's Dana.
Okay, Dana. Dana, thanks for joining us. Dion, can you read the next one? The only Sid could find a way to hate Denzel. Who's is that? Dana too?
No, that's your boy Ricky.
Ricky, sir, I didn't say I hated Denzel. What are you talking about? And second of all, Rick, I'm not the only one. Dion went first and said, not Denzel. How dare you come after me?
Just on this list, man, he comes in third place in terms of portrayals. That's just the bottom line. No knock on him, but
our screener from way back when, August says to Jamie, and she says Denzel was great, but he didn't look like Malcolm. It threw her off. And then she says, FYI, Hancock was originally supposed to be for Ben Affleck.
Oh
Interesting.
wow! I mean, that'd have been a completely different movie.
Complete. I don't. Hancock's not my favorite Will Smith film, but I think I would have found a way to like it less had it been Ben Affleck. I think playing that character. I mean, what about you? I don't know how you even liked Hancock. Did you like it?
I liked Hancock. Hancock's a movie where I would watch the edited version, and I don't like to watch edited version movies, but I found it to be an enjoyable film for what it was. It didn't take
Okay.
itself too seriously, and I think what's it? It's not Jay. Is it Jason Bateman?
It is
Is it?
Jason Bateman. Yeah,
Jason Bateman makes that movie fun. Just his
100%.
mannerisms. Yeah,
100%.
and Charlize Theron's always nice to look at. So um, I think the dynamic of the other actors in the movie, because I'm gonna be honest with you, Will was pretty mediocre as Hancock. He didn't really have a personality. He's just a superhero, and it's like all the other characters in the show, the little kid, the boy he tosses up in the air. I think everybody else did a phenomenal job acting. I thought Will's acting in that movie was meh. You
I
know,
think, and I think Will only got his hands on that movie. August, correct me if I'm wrong. Probably because he's just a bigger star than Ben Affleck. Otherwise, I don't think he gets his hands on that script. Ben maybe ends up playing it. I don't know. Did Ben turn it down? I can't imagine Ben turned it down and then it got to Will. Will's been a megastar, for decades now.
I don't see that movie being as successful as it was with Ben Affleck. A lot of people hated him as Batman for I think the two movies that he did.
Oh,
So
it was horrible. It was like
yeah.
Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck is the guy you think of, and nothing against him. He's done some good movies, but man, sometimes I think for a lot of people, and even for me, that's the guy. If you want to ruin a movie, sometimes he's like the first guy you think of. Like,
There
put Ben
are
Affleck.
there's certain actors that people love to hate. I know a bunch of people don't like Tom Cruise for ever since he jumped on Oprah's
Boo,
couch. Yeah.
boo.
I don't mind him. I don't hate him the way most people do, but I get why they do. I understand why people hate Ben Affleck. I don't hate him, but I can see why people don't really enjoy their movies. And so, yeah, I'm glad he turned it down
Well,
because I
because how
probably
many
would be
Mission
a bigger fan.
Impossibles do we need to see? How many Mission Impossibles?
As many as he can complete. That's as
God,
how many.
oh! Now it comes out why August brought this whole thing up. She says, "I was in Hancock, so I love it." So this is why that's
Why are we not surprised?
and then she says, "No, we'll have more power to get scripts." And yeah, that's kind of what we were assuming too. Um, I was in Hancock, so I love it. That's an August O'Neill thing to say if there ever has been one. Let me see if there are any other comments coming through. Facebook user says August. Facebook user says Mission Impossible. I'm assuming those are Ricky, but I could be wrong.
So Mission Impossible was Aaliyah Craig. Hey Aaliyah, thanks for
What's
joining us.
yeah, Aaliyah,
And then
welcome.
Mary Ballard said August with the laughing emojis.
Yeah, hilarious. Oh, and shout out to August too. August was my point person on Saturday. Again, we'll talk about this later, but she may not be on here later because she's always bouncing, moving, and shaking. So she was awesome. I appreciated her, but I'll get to the team and everything later in the show. Comedian August said, how, whatever. All right, Dion, who is your number two? We've knocked off J Lo at number 4, Denzel at 3. Who's your number 2, sir?
So this is the toughest because I could be talked into either one, but my number two, eh, it's because of recency bias. I'm
Okay,
going
wait,
with
wait, okay,
Angela.
okay, wait. On the count of 3, let's say our number 2s at the same time.
Okay,
All right. 1, 2, 3. Angela Bassett.
Angela Bassett. Yep. She was phenomenal in the Tina Turner movie, and shout out to Lawrence Fishburne as Ike. I mean, for a long time, I thought they both were Ike and Tina, um, just because of how great they were in that movie. Um, like I said, the only reason I'm going with her as number two and not number one is because I've seen Ray more recently, and it's one of, if not my favorite biopic, is one of my favorite biopics, top three easily. Um, and I'll get to that when we move on to number one. But yeah, she comes in at number two. She did a phenomenal job as Tina Turner. I mean, the mannerisms, the dancing. I know it was lip sunk, but she did a phenomenal job. Just she is such a strong actress. You know, for a long time, I really thought she was Michael Jackson's mother when she did the
Oh yeah,
Jackson
the Jackson story, Jackson, yeah.
the Jackson story. So I mean, she whenever she does portrays a real life person, she really brings that character to life, and she just has a phenomenal way of making you like, yeah, I can see everything this movie's trying to show me who this person is through her.
I love Angela Bassett. She's aged phenomenally. She's always beautiful, not a hair out of place. Not, I mean, just always put together. And I know what some people say. Of course, she's rich. She's in Hollywood. There are a lot of rich people in Hollywood who like ass. Every time they get a chance to see them, they get on the red carpet, they look like ass. They're being interviewed, they look like ass. They're saying the wrong thing. Never anything. And when you think about she and her husband, who've been together for decades, never a bad word ever spoken about them in that marriage. I don't know. He could be overfeeding the goldfish at the end of every fucking day. I don't know, but but nothing fucking comes out. She is so. I think you used the word phenomenal. She is so phenomenal in everything she does. There's only one thing I have a problem when it comes to Angela Bassett. When she
It's the
played
way
that
you say her
character,
last name.
shut up. When she played that character, I can't think of the name, and Waited to Exhale, and made it just okay for black women to hate on white women. I feel like that's where the real hatred for brothers and white women really originated.
I don't even think I've seen Waiting to Exhale.
It's a good movie. That's got a great cast. But yeah, she was great as Tina Turner in that movie. Little side note, I was listening to Lawrence Fishburne. Did I say that name okay? Is that okay for you, Dion? Is that all right for
Yes.
you? All right.
I'm
Or would you prefer Larry? I think he prefers Lawrence.
it's definitely Lawrence, but the way you say Lawrence matters too. You can't call him Lawrence.
I don't think I speak that way.
I-
But like Larry. Facebook just said uh, but that was a Leah. It says, bye, Sidney. You can't hate no Angela.
yes, that
Yes.
was.
I'm not hating on Angela. I just got to tell you how much I love her. But little side note, I was listening to Mr. Fishburne be interviewed by Jamil Hill on her podcast, and they talked about the filming of What's Love Got to Do with It, and he talked about his own experience as an abuser in his first marriage, and how he had to go to therapy to get help with his anger, his rage issues, and things like that. And also that they could not do a lot of multiple takes on scenes. They had to get it done within, I forget what the number was, but within a certain amount of scenes. You know, some directors like for you to go again and again and again. He said, but this movie was so emotional, so impactful. There were so many different things that they were dealing with, which we all know who've seen the movie, that just couldn't be done. And so it was really pressed upon him to get it right sooner than later because he didn't want to take himself back into certain things. So I found that to be a little bit of a nugget. I was like, oh man, I didn't know that. I didn't know he had that background in his marital past. But two, I just found that little nugget of we got to get this right because we can't live in this darkness for an entire day. You just can't do it for some of those scenes.
You know, a lot of directors have a very specific way they want scenes to go. From doing Ms. Pat Show season 1 and season 3, there were multiple different directors. Some directors would be like, you know what, let's try it this way. All right, let's try it this way. While other directors be like, no, we're doing it this way. Get it right so we can get on to the next scene. Mm-hmm. So I completely understand not wanting to reshoot abuse scenes over and over and over again, especially if that's something that you had to deal with in the past. I didn't know that either, so that is a good nugget. He was channeling something in that movie because he was an easy character to dislike in that film. You watch that movie, you go, this guy is just a giant piece of shit. I don't know anything about Ike Turner other than from what I know about Ike Turner in that movie. So what I saw on screen is what I picture him to be like, you know, when he was alive.
Well, Angela did such a good job with it, and I would say this about any actor and actress, especially when you're doing a biopic. you were in that world when she was a young woman going all the way through, to the part where, when you think about what some people go through and you get to see, oh, kind of her mother was kind of in on it because her mother was collecting a check, based off what Tina Turner was doing and so on and so forth. But she just takes you into it, and then that scene inside of the record studio, or the sound booth at the house, and they're recording and him kicking everybody out and raping her, and I mean, you can feel everything that she's displaying to you, and I'm sure she sat with Miss Turner to get that, but you really, really did feel it. And I think that's kind of what we were saying with Denzel. You almost think you are living that in that world with her at that time. It was just an amazing, amazing job, and that's why she was number 2 for me as well.
Yeah.
Let's see here. No more comments here, I see, folks, huh? You guys don't like this one that much? Huh? We even moved the time up for you. All right, so Bison, you can't hate on Angela. I don't know if Aaliyah really left me, packed up her stuff, and just got out and left. I don't know what happened, but or she was just kidding and she's still around. Who knows? Maybe she's around the corner waiting for me to leave so she can set my shit on fire like Angela did and waiting to exhale when she set my man Carl on fire and walked away like a smooth criminal. Go ahead.
I do remember seeing that scene. He had that coming.
This what you gonna do? This what you gonna do?
I'm just saying. I'm not saying you had it coming. I'm saying he had it coming. I mean, she might have just watched that movie and think you got it coming.
Let me tell you something right now. Anybody set my shit on fire, I wouldn't be here right now talking to you.
You gonna channel your Larry Fishburne? Is that what you're saying?
No, I would be someplace. No. I just buy whatever. That's neat. Need this video pulled down out of the cloud and used against me later on down the road. I swear to God, I was crazy. All right, so that makes number 1 pretty simple for Dion and myself. I don't think anyone picked this number 1 except for August, but it's going to be Jamie Foxx playing Ray Charles.
Right. When I tell you the first time I saw that movie, I immediately wanted to watch it again. I mean, I didn't know jack all about Ray Charles, but watching that movie made me a huge Ray Charles fan. I got on the Wikipedia. I started learning more stuff about him. I looked up old videos because I remember him being in commercials, like the Pepsi commercial. You got the right one, baby. But I didn't realize that at the time he was making all these hits. Some of the songs I didn't know he did them. He has a very distinct voice, but I'm like, oh, he wrote that? I didn't know he wrote that. So watching Jamie pull off the walk and the sunglasses and the voice. I mean, Jamie does incredible voices, but watching Ray is an experience in and of itself. There's a reason why he won an Oscar for it. I sometimes I find myself saying the hummingbird, B. There's a lot of quotes from that movie. And he nailed it out of the park. I think the fact that he got to work with Ray before he passed really helped. And seeing some of the behind the scenes stuff that they did on the movie and seeing them two play the piano together was really, really cool. And you can see him channeling Ray. And out of these 4 people, I feel like he, as close as Angela was, Ray was just that much closer, or Jamie was that much closer in the movie Ray, and that's why I went with it as number 1.
Facebook user says Jamie Foxx murdered that entire movie, and then Facebook user says Ray is such a good movie.
So Leah Craig said Jamie Foxx murdered the entire movie, and Dana says Ray is such a good movie.
Jamie Foxx, out of the list that we have here, just the 4, not saying the only, out of these 4, Jamie is the only one in my mind. If he didn't make if he, God forbid, decided, I just don't want to do anything after he did Ray, he's still legendary. You know what I mean? That movie completes his resume for me. I don't care if he never made another song, told another joke, never did another movie. The Burial on Amazon Prime is actually pretty good too. If you guys haven't seen it, Dion watched it when Dion was here. He and I sat and watched a phenomenal movie, and we both agreed that he brings a little bit of the Ray Charles voice into that film. But he's the only one on this list if he didn't do another thing after he did Ray. resume complete. This dude goes down in history as one of the greatest ever. And just like you were saying, the way he channeled Ray Charles and the voice, how much he sounded like Ray, and the fact that he can actually play the piano and as talented as he is, goes a long way with that film too. You know, you just nailed on one of the best quotes. Talking about the hummingbird, and getting to see Ray play that smooth, getting to see Jamie play Ray Charles as that smooth womanizer or ladies man, depending on what view you want to take on it. You know, when he had the band and everything, learning the lessons that I felt like I learned from it as well. Coming up and having your best friend be by your side, but then when you get to a certain level, that jealousy starts to fucking come out, and people want to take advantage because they don't think they're getting their due. You know, I've went through that, and so seeing those lessons played out and realizing that this is a part. I mean, the movie is great, and Jamie's just awesome. I mean, I could go on for days and days and days talking about, or hours and hours, I should say, about this movie. But Jamie, by far, on this list, was the best at portraying that icon that they were portraying.
It had a really good cast too.
Yeah,
The scene with Regina King, you know, ODing and just, I mean, all that being real life stuff that I never knew about. You know, Ray was way before my time, but I was always a fan of Hit the Road Jack. I didn't realize he had taken gospel songs and turned them into R&B, and how much of a big deal that was at the time. You know, and the little bald white guy with the glasses, the record producer. I love him, and he always plays the same character whenever he's in a movie. He's always some type of pencil pusher or whatever. I can't think of his name, but you know who I'm talking about. He was great in that movie. The really dark skinned actor that was his driver, and he rode on the bus with him. He helped counting his money. He's great in that movie.
Yeah. So that's what I was speaking of as being a guy. Yeah. And I think he got his fair share.
Yeah, he was great.
Clifton Powell. Clifton Powell.
Yes. Clifton was he was great in that movie. And I really liked how the movie kind of jumped back and forth from young Ray to you know, older Ray to just regular Ray. How it moves around, and you can see, you know, the progression of the blindness and how he learns to navigate that, and just
the toughness of his mother in that.
Yeah.
Knowing what her son was going to have to deal with. Wendell Pierce is in that movie. I forgot. I pulled the cast up. I forgot about him. He's the one that, you know, wanted Ray to take the money how he wanted to give it to him. Ray, I need my money. You know, that type of thing. But yeah, really, really good movie. The thing that I learned, and I know we're talking about the entire movie at this point, folks, but Jamie Foxx is our number one. Again, if you haven't shared yours, let us know what you're thinking. And I'm gonna get to some comments that are there. But the other thing I took from it was the businessman that he was. Like, he was to get the deal that he got when it came to his masters that nobody else was getting. And I think they said to him, "You deal, Frey, no one has a deal like that but Frank Sinatra, I believe, something along those lines." And he wasn't coming up off of it. This is the deal I want. And when you take that and you fast forward now to 2023, and what artists are dealing with, not owning their masters, and they're talking about it to this day. You talk about being a revolutionary and being ahead of your time, especially as a black artist. I mean, there's just so much good information that came out of that movie.
You know, it's one of those things where the movie itself opened your eyes to some of the things that go on in the record industry, but also it really expanded upon how much of a pioneer he was, not just for his genre, but for all musicians. You know, a lot of people took things that he did and that the way he did them is they applied it to their career, which I thought, you know, just for Ray Charles, the man, is a phenomenal legacy to leave behind, that people can, you know, learn from the things that you set forth for your career, and they can follow in your footsteps. Oh, I want to do it that way. He was a way bigger star than I realized at the time.
Really?
You know,
okay.
when
Okay.
I didn't realize how popular Ray Charles was when I was younger. I didn't know. You know, I knew my grandparents my grandmothers loved him, but I didn't realize that, he was a major musician in America's culture. Like I just didn't, it didn't dawn on
Yeah,
me. It
yeah,
didn't
yeah,
register
yeah,
me. You
yeah,
know what I
yeah,
mean? Like,
yeah.
and I think watching that movie kind of helped me fall in love with Ray Charles even more than, I mean, because I already liked him, but watching the movie is, how do you not love the guy? I mean, he was a trendsetter. He created a new sound out of nothing, and then you had people mimicking it. Richard Pryor once said, um, I don't want to mess this quote up, but basically it's, you left your mark on the world when everybody after you
It's doing you.
has your stamp on them.
Yeah, yeah.
And I feel like, especially in the R&B circles, a lot of people have the Ray Charles stamp on them and the way they move and the way they make music. So I again, Jamie did such a good job portraying him that it made me want to learn more about the man that he was portraying, and I just, that's why he's number one for me, because the movie was just great, but then it made me want to get into more Ray Charles, listen to more Ray Charles, and that type of thing.
Another thing I just thought about, and I'm gonna take away from the movie, is out of these four, this is the only one, and I'm thinking here, this is the only one where Ray is not perceived as a good person all the way through it. And most people, you walk around, you don't ever want people to see your warts or the bad parts of your past. As Julie says, I didn't realize he was on heroin all those years. A lot of people didn't. And the womanizing and so many other things that you don't know or that you wouldn't even think about because the man was blind. You know what I mean? But they go into all of this, and he lets you in. He had to clear all of that. You just couldn't make a pitch about this man, and he didn't give the okay. And so that to me is another thing that makes this movie phenomenal. I don't
And I
not to
think
overuse that word, but
but I think that's what really helps draw you into the character is the
yeah,
dark aspects of it.
yeah,
Because again, I didn't know about the heroin thing. I really found it fascinating about the way he went about picking which woman he wanted to talk to by grabbing their wrists. If she got a thin wrist, she's game. But if her wrist is thicker, she can go grab a Snicker. It's like one of those things where that's not even something that I would even think to even look at or be aware of. And here we are seeing that, as everybody wants to put people up on a pedestal, celebrities, it's easy to grandize their lives because you normally only see the best parts of what makes them a celebrity. But to watch this movie and to see that there were people screwing him in the beginning, he wanted to do the drugs. It wasn't like they tricked him into doing it. He was like, yo,
yeah,
include, he was trying to be like everybody else.
yeah.
Seeing that and the way
Great
that
point. Great point.
Jamie Foxx pulled that off, it made you fall in love with who Ray Charles was.
Yeah, he did a great job. So number one for the both of us. Julius also says, gotta let it do what it do, baby. So he gave one of his quotes, which is another good one. The Facebook user says, "What do y'all think of Chadwick Boseman as James Brown?" LOL. I bet you that was Ricky.
No, that was Aaliyah Craig.
Okay, all right. I thought that was Ricky trying to sneak one in on us. I was not a big fan of the movie. I don't think it had so much to do with Chadwick. I just was not a big fan of the film.
I love the film, but he doesn't do he no he doesn't pull off James Brown at all.
Yeah,
And
so he
I
doesn't.
hate to say that about Chadwick because I love him as an actor, but he, there's no difference between the James Brown character that Chadwick plays and the Thurgood Marshall that he plays and the Jackie Robinson that he plays. There's no voice inflection, there's no change. It's just him talking, and so
Leave Chadwick alone.
I love him, Wakanda forever. I'm just saying when it comes to the biopics, he
You,
didn't. Now
I thought that was gonna stick. I thought that was gonna stick for a while because black people all over the world, when we saw each other with, I thought it was like for some reason it was a sense of pride to Wakanda doesn't exist, Black Panther doesn't exist, but somehow we just took that, and a lot of it I know why, because they said that couldn't be done. You listen to Kevin Hart speak about it. He said that's why he was so animate about send me overseas, send the movies overseas, get me out. Because for a long time, their thought was black people do not sell overseas. Domestic, sure, but we're not going to put money into doing anything overseas with a black actor. So for Kevin to be able to do what he's done, and The Rock to be able to do what he's done, and other black actors at this point, and for Wakanda, for Black Panther to do what it did worldwide, when they thought a black superhero movie like that would never be able to put the numbers that it did up. I know that's why we took some pride away from it, but at the same time, we were all, I don't care how smart you were, I don't care how many degrees you had, or I don't care if you was just illiterate. Boy, we were all just out here, just Wakanda forever and throwing that up on our chest. So Chadwick Boseman, I'm with you. You did say you picked on one that I was going to touch on, and Aaliyah, thank you for giving us this one because this is kind of giving us another little lane. 42. As much as I wanted to like that movie,
Go ahead and say
volume,
it. Go ahead and say
Can't
it.
hear you. Can't hear you.
I gotta drop off and come back.
All right. As much as I wanted it to do something for me, it just didn't. Aaliyah, did you like 42 with him in it at all, or what was your thoughts on that? Dion, you there?
Can you hear me now?
Is it me or is it you?
It's probably me. Can you not hear me? Can you not hear me? You
Yeah,
can't hear
I'm
me.
not hearing you. I'm not hearing you.
All right.
Okay. Just didn't do anything for me. If you guys can hear me, guys, let me know if maybe it's not me. Maybe it's Dion, or maybe it's not Dion. Maybe it's me. Let me know if you guys are able to hear me or not hear me. I'd appreciate it. I'm waiting for Dion to come back up here. Let me go to some other comments. Could you imagine the movies and books that would be available if all these artists didn't tell their entire story on podcasts? Okay, bring them in. Dion,
Can you hear me now?
No, sir. I'm trying to. Someone say they. Okay, so people saying they can hear me, and then someone said they can hear us both. I don't know why we're not hearing one another.
I can hear you,
You
but
can
you
hear me?
can't hear me.
No.
Yes.
So let me mess with my headphones for a second.
The reason why you probably couldn't hear me was because Lee's stupid ass called me while I'm doing the podcast. Lee, you know what time it is. Why you call my phone?
Mic check.
I'm gonna cuss you out. I can hear
That's
you.
just fucking driving me nuts now. I don't know why this is even fucking happening. This is bothering the shit out of me now.
It's Lee's fault. It's Lee's fault.
I'm
It's
irritated.
Lee's fault.
I'm
It's
so
Lee's
irritated
fault.
right now.
Everybody type in the comments. It's Lee's fault. It's Lee's fault.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. Here, let's see if we can get this resolved. What's up, Dion? You got something going over there?
I can hear you.
I can't fucking hear you.
Read the comments.
I can hear you both. I needed my invoice. I can hear you both. It's Lee's fault.
He called me. He called me and
Oh,
it kicked
that's who it is. Rat bastard. Lee, you know he's doing the podcast every week, bro. Every week. All right, guys, just give me 1 second. Just stay patient with me. I'm going to get this corrected one way or the other. Just give me 1 second here.
God damn it, Lee. This is all your fault.
Hey, can you hear me now?
I've always been able to hear you.
I can hear you. I can hear you now. Let me see if I can. I want to make sure. I'm gonna roll like this. I hope you guys can hear me okay. All right,
Yeah.
there we go.
You know, you sound no different. Can you hear? You can still hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you. Damn you,
Yeah.
Lee.
It's
You know he
Lee's
does this
goddamn
podcast.
fault. Every Monday,
All right.
talking about I needed my invite. You know what time the show is.
Put a timer on your phone, a reminder on your calendar or something, man. What up, though, Nate? Nate's jumped in with us. So I was asking the audience, and I was asking Aaliyah specifically, if she's still with us, what were her thoughts on 42? If she, I assume she's a Chadwick Boseman fan, but I was just curious.
I loved the movie 42, and I like the James Brown movie. The Thurgood Marshall movie was yeah. I went and saw it in theaters, but I haven't watched it since. But 42, I think the reason why I like 42 so much was because the racism was funny to me because just they were over the top,
I was about to say
you
they were
know.
over the top with it.
They were so over the top that it was comical to me, mostly because, I didn't live in that time and I didn't have to go through anybody being that bold with it. I mean, I've met a few people who have no problem saying the things that were said in that movie, but I didn't have to deal with them on a daily basis. And the Philadelphia manager, I mean, when he's just go, me and my buddy Joel saw it in the theater, and we the only two black people in there. And when that manager was going in on Jackie Robinson, we were dying. It was funny to us, and all these white people were looking at us like, "Why are y'all laughing?" And we were like, because it's so ridiculous, it's so over the top that it was just comical.
Yeah, because I was sitting there thinking, I'm like, boy, man, was this y'all allowed to say this the shit like this? I mean, absolutely not, absolutely not. Julie says, could you imagine the movies and books that would be available if all these artists didn't tell their entire story on a podcast or live their entire life on social media? Julius, you are so right, and I love that you said it that way. I believe that when I get to a certain point in my career, I'm not going to do as much with social media because I won't have to. I think I may go to Dave Chappelle route. Not quite as extreme, but I may go that route because they have figured a way to turn us into the product and make so much money based off what we put up clip wise or whatever you're putting out there as far as whatever your footprint is. It absolutely drives me absolutely insane that they get all this free product every single day, every single second of the day, and they're making money off of it. Drives me insane. Good for
well,
them.
I,
Me nuts.
Well, I think that when you get to a certain level, you don't have to use those platforms anymore. I think, if Dave wanted to post something, he could go on his website and post it there, and he's
What I'm
got
saying.
enough fans that you know where to get that person specifically. The problem, what I think, is social media's ability that everybody can screen grab your stuff and put it elsewhere, and then you have to fight the copyright and that type of thing.
Drives me
So,
nuts.
yeah, but no, I understand that at all. And for that reason, I think it helps get new stars out there. It's a double-edged sword that you can go down a path of having to just create because you want to stay on top of it because you're not at that level yet. But at the same time, that once you get on that level, the snowball has already started to form and roll down the hill, and it's hard to get out in front of it to slow it down or to stop it completely. And where you have to disappear for 8 years, like Dave Chappelle did. So it's
Yep.
one of those things, man. In the entertainment industry, specifically, athletes not so much because they're in season and then they retire. But as a comic or as a musician, you have to kind of go with the trends if you want to stay relevant. If you don't have that huge platform, so it's just an unfortunate thing. When it comes to my biopic, it's gonna be a quick one because I don't want nobody telling my story but me. So
They're saying you're echoing. Someone is saying who is that got the echo?
Dana said it and Mary said it. Well,
Okay. You want to try to drop off and come back up real quick again?
yeah.
Okay. Harrison Ford was great in that movie. Not sure. Also, what's up, fellas? What's good? I'm not sure who said that. So, Facebook user for one. Dion will let me know when he gets back. Let us know if he's still echoing, ladies.
Am I still echoing? It's Lee Jones's damn fault. Lee Jones's fault. Type that in the comments. Lee Jones's fault. Everybody blame Lee.
Facebook user here says Harrison Ford was great in that movie. What movie would they be referring to? Did I miss something? Am I looking at?
42. He played
Oh,
Branch
that's
Rickey,
right. That's
and
right. He
that was
was
Sean
good.
Jones.
Yeah, that's right. He was good in that. You are absolutely. I forgot he was in that movie. I forgot he was in there. Lee Jones, damn fault. All right. Facebook user says, yo. And yes, still echoing for some reason.
I don't know what to tell you guys,
Let me
other
try
than it's
this.
Lee Jones's fault
Let me try to.
because
Go ahead. Let me hear you. Let me hear you.
can you hear me? I can
I
hear
can hear
you.
you. I can hear you. I might have fixed it. So, ladies, let me know if it's good. I think you're right because my headphones are off. So I think that's part of one of the reasons I like to wear them. But I think I just corrected that. You guys let me know if I did or not.
Let me know if I'm still echoing. I hope. I'm hearing the echo through your end now. I can hear myself through your speaker.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Everyone says it's better now. Can you live with it for a couple more minutes?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Okay. All right. Who said shut up? LOL.
That
They're
Lee
going.
Jones, the
They're
person that we've
going.
been
They're
blaming
going.
this past 20 minutes.
They're going after each other. Sounds better on this end. Okay, good. Um, all right, guys. Good topic. We're gonna jump into our second one. It's gonna be quick, and then we're gonna get you guys the hell out of here. Thank you guys for joining us earlier. We wanted to try it out, see if this worked better for everyone, as opposed to doing it later on this end of the world. Um, I just wanted to tune in. Lee, thank you for. I think that's Lee again. Just wanted to tune in. Lee, thank you
Yeah.
very much. We will make sure that our people will get with your people, so you are aware when the show starts.
Here's what you need to know, Lee. After 8 o'clock, don't call my phone. Point blank, period. So
Isn't Lee a
you
part of
three,
the group?
yes, he is. So
So
I
he can
don't.
just go to the group and see
Uh,
if the show is on.
Lee smokes a lot of weed. Let's just put
Oh,
that out there.
okay.
And
Well, I didn't want to. I was thinking, but I didn't want to say it. All right. So I shot my special Misunderstood over the weekend, Saturday night to be a little more precise. And for me, it was a good time. It was just it was a good night. But I know that Dion and I said we would talk about it a little bit. Um, so I'm not on here just talking about myself. I would prefer if Dion asked me some questions if he has any. If you were there and you have a question to sneak in, I would appreciate that too. So I'm just not sitting here just talking about me and all that kind of good stuff because that would be just annoying for me and you. So I'll get out of the way and let Dion kind of take it over
so
here.
my very first question is what were your thoughts on the overall experience of creating this special? How you had to have the sound, the people you chose for the lineup, just your overall thoughts, the venue itself. Can you kind of talk about, now that it's all over and done with, kind of break down each individual section of the things that you had to put together versus how they were executed on Saturday night?
The venue. I'll start with the venue. When I went and checked out the venue, which is Wicked Brews, if you're in the Phoenix area, check it out. Wicked Brews is a brewery. I went in and I love the elevated area, elevated bar area. I thought that would be a nice backdrop. And when I brought the team in to see it as well, because I can see what I can see, but these guys are professionals at shooting this and they've done it before. They kind of saw the same kind of the thing that I wanted as well. The lighting was fantastic. I saw there's going to be some great opportunities for lighting and for um, kudos for your pick of hosts. Well, thank you very much. I don't know who said that.
That was
Um,
Mary.
okay, I was sure Dion typed that when I wasn't looking. But yeah, Dion did a great job hosting. So the venue was great. The team there, some guys that I know who've done this before and wanted to work with me. So that was awesome to have. The comics, I talked about this. People had wanted me to book white comics. I thought I should and have this and have that. And I really didn't want that. I wanted to book black people for this particular show and the reason I booked who I booked, including being able to put you on the show, was you had four black faces on stage, and we and our jokes and our material and our delivery were all different. And I don't think that is spotlighted enough in our business. So that was important to me to do that for that audience, and important in my mind to be able to prove a point that I don't think we go out of our way to try to prove often enough. But the entire experience, fucking nerve wracking, bro. Nerve wracking. Not a lot of sleep. A lot of pins and needles. Even when people are buying tickets at the numbers that they were buying them, all right, all these motherfuckers better show up. When I got there for sound check, I knew what the ticket sales were at that point, and people were asking me questions about what if people were back there or this far back. And at the time, I was like, look, I'm not even thinking like that. This is what we're going to have, which would have still been a great room. But to be able to walk out around the building, because I wanted to come through the front when I was introduced and just take a quick peek without being seen, to see that room fucking packed from wall to wall, yeah, it made it all worthwhile even before I hit the stage.
Yeah, you had a really, really good turnout. You sold out your VIP tickets. Um, there was a gentleman there. and you'll know who I'm talking about when I finish this up. Whose laugh resonated throughout the entire
Yeah.
seating area, and I'm very very interested to hear his laugh once the special comes out, because even when I got on stage and I heard him laugh, I was like, I thought it was going to be a one-time thing, but this this guy's laugh was just so funny that when you would tell a joke and get a laugh off it, he would laugh, and then his laugh would make people laugh even harder.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was the sound of the laughter in the room was phenomenal. It just went from wall to wall, back and forth. Um, can you talk about what you were thinking before you went on stage? Because I know you were backstage and you could hear everything.
Yeah.
What was some of the thoughts that you were having as you were listening to how the comics performed?
You know what? Before, because you and I've been doing this a long time, and when you do this a long time, you have different ways to deliver material based off you're hearing the room. If the room is or the comics are really amped up and high energy, you may want to take the energy out of the room. You may want to change the delivery to a slower type delivery. You may even change up your material based off what you're going to do. So I was thinking about all of that when I was in the green room listening. By the time I walked around and came around, I kind of was already set and ready to go because I'd been, thinking about this all year, working these jokes out that I wanted to tell all year and how I wanted to go about it. I went with a slower, not slow, but a slower, more deliberate pace for my premise and the setups and everything before I got to those punchlines. I've really fallen in love with that, and that's kind of what I went with, and I'm happy I did. I really felt great about it, and I think it worked with that particular room and that particular night. I just think it was a good night for joke telling for me that night.
You had a great set, and I'm not just saying that because I'm your brother and co-host. As a comedy fan,
Thanks,
I'll
man.
tell you, if I didn't like it, I didn't like it. And I don't sugarcoat when it comes to comedy.
Yeah.
You can ask any comic that knows me. If I think it was mid, I'll tell you it was mid. But I thought you really controlled the crowd. You know what it reminded me of? The guy gets all the credit, but he doesn't really do anything but wave the baton, and the orchestra actually plays all the hard music, and
Yeah.
he's just up there doing all this. Most people think that guy is not really controlling anything because they all have the music right there in front of them. But people actually do pay attention to I think they call him a composer. Is
A
that what he's
conductor.
called?
Conductor. Yeah.
Conductor. They actually, you were like a conductor up there, the way you were reeling the crowd in, leading them to, with the premise and the setup, and then right as you getting ready, boom, you would pull the punchline and hit them over the head with it. It was masterful to watch. I was proud
Thanks.
of you,
Thanks.
um, not just because you were getting the reaction that you wanted to get, but just watching the overall arc of the show. Ray Earl was very, very animated. And then Jackie she was the least animated of everybody who went out on stage. And then to watch you kind of blend the two together, sometimes you would get animated and then sometimes you would, ease it in. But I thought you really pulled off the conductor role and how you manipulated the crowd to get maximum amount of laughter. So kudos to you for that. Can you talk about, is there anything that happened that you weren't happy with while you were on stage? Because I know when I was up there for the 5 minutes, there was a woman near the end of my set who shouted out, and I was like, I'm really hoping that this is the only time it happens. Obviously, because you're filming, but also because it's a room full of people and nobody wants to hear what some random audience member has to say.
Uh, I'm happy with the decision. I'll say it this way. I'll finish that up. There, guys, just hang in there. As soon as Dion jumps back on, I'll finish that up. Well, he tried to jump on. We'll try this again. Sorry for the technical issues that we're having tonight. Damn you, Lee. Uh, but we're gonna keep this thing going. We only got a couple more minutes, so I do apologize. We'll let Dion jump back on here again. It was a fun night. Dion, to Mary's point, Dion did a great job, as I knew he would as the host of the show that night. Dion, you good?
You froze on my end, so whatever you said right as I asked you You said I'm decided to, and then you froze on me, so
Oh
I didn't
yeah,
hear
I
anything
was
you
saying
said
I
after
would
that.
answer that question like this. I'm very happy with the decision I made to pull the drinks before the show started. You know, for people who were not here, I told everyone doors for at 5, from 5 to 7, you get a chance to eat and drink. Come 7 o'clock, they're pulling everything, and no one's going to get any more food or service of any sort from 7 to 9. And I'm very happy that I did that because I can only imagine how much activity there would have been. There was a little too much chatter when I was on stage from people who I know a long time who knew how important this was to me. And it took me everything not to rip an asshole on people that night and to just keep on what I was doing because it's one of those things like, you know how important this is to me. So why would you do this on this particular night type of thing? And all I thought about was, I'm so glad I pulled everything because had I let them drink all the way to the start of the fucking show, it just would have been, I don't know what would have turned out. Or let them drink throughout the show, you know, knocking shit over, dropping shit, talking. I was just very glad that I pulled alcohol off tables.
So the way that the camera was set up, it was inside of the crowd. So had there been people ordering drinks or just having drinks on the table, I'm pretty sure the audio would have been able to pick that up.
Mm-hmm.
I was on the side of the stage, and I kind of like to walk around, you know, take the show in from different angles. There was a particular side of the room that was a little bit more chatty than the other sides of the room, and I don't know if that was because they drank more or they didn't know you as well, but I did kind of notice that there was a subsection of people who didn't realize how important this was to you. So that's why I asked the question. I wanted to know how you
Are you
felt
talking
about
about in
that.
the VIP area?
I mean, I didn't say any names,
No,
but
well, those are people I've known for years, and that's what was bothering me because there was one person in particular. So, and I know talking to a couple other people, are like, dude, shut up, trying to get that individual to be quiet. But yeah, yeah. So that's how that's yeah that's. But it was a good night. It was a good night. There was, man, uh, somewhere between close to 250 in that building that night. So we packed it out. There was, you said you walked around. I'm sure it was tough to maneuver from side to side. So it was a lot of people in there. But I'm sorry. You go ahead.
so my final question to you is: now that you've done it, now that it's completed, is there anything that you would do differently now that you've gone through this experience for your next special moving forward?
Yeah, 100%. I would probably have a bigger team on the night of the show to handle things. You know, I would assume the best in terms of audience size. Um, Again, the numbers I had the day of were very good numbers, but I did not think we were going to get to where we got to. So I tried to scale the team based on what I felt like was going to happen. A lot of it was because of the location. You're not from here, but to tell people that that show is where it was located, like holy shit, I got to drive 45 minutes for a lot of folks to get to this show, and people bought tickets up front. VIP sold out in 2 days. General admission started to go. But as we got there, I felt like, man, and it wasn't in a traditional club. I did it in a brewery. But I'm glad I did, and I'm glad I got the advice I got from the comedy clubs, actually, to do it in a brewery, my first one in a brewery. So um, I guess the number one thing I would do is make sure I have a bigger team on staff to handle people coming through the door, to handle getting people seated, just to handle a lot of things that come with putting on a show. And a lot of stuff that you take for granted because I'm so used to doing everything at the clubs. And the clubs take care of that side of the things.
Yeah.
And I don't have to worry about, is there enough staff? Who's going to get them seated? Who's making sure who's drinking and not drinking? Who's making sure who's not getting into the green room? All these different things that I normally don't have to worry about. Uh, but now I have a better understanding of it and why.
Well, like I said, I thought the overall experience was phenomenal. I'm very, very happy that I got to go and watch you do your thing. I was super proud of you. I was happy that a lot of your friends and family came. Seeing your brother, who I forgot to mention earlier in the show, was so great to see Vince and Nancy again. Shout out to them. Got to see Pops and TA, who I hadn't seen in a long, long time. So it was just really cool to watch you get the love and respect and the show to go the way that you wanted to go because you earned it. I'm gonna be the first to tell you, and I hope you hear it more than from just me. But you are a very hardworking individual. You put a lot of work into all the projects that you create, and so as
Thanks,
your
man.
brother and co-host, I just want to congratulate you on another milestone. I
Thank
know
you.
how hard it is to produce a one podcast, let alone three, and then to produce your own comedy special and all the things that you had to go through to get to that night. I just want to tell you that I'm very proud of you, and I know you are happy with it, but I hope
Yeah.
once you get to watch it and see that you can take a moment and just kind of celebrate yourself for a job well done because you did a phenomenal job.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate it, man. And before we get out of here, though, I want to do this. I got some gifts that day, so I want to do that. And these are not coming in any particular order. But my man Nick, and I'm not a gift getting person, so Dion and I talked about this. I've talked about this. People who know me know I really don't like to get gifts. I have my own reasons for it, but my mother told me many years ago, when you don't let someone give you something, you're blocking the blessings of that person down the road if they want to bless you. So, but got some cool gifts, some custom Air Force Ones. My man Nick rode into the green room with. I don't know when I would wear these other than on stage because of the material that they're made of. Man, they're very nice. I don't want to get them dirty, but it's a nice pair of shoes. So I appreciated
You got to
that.
show them. You got to show them the back.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I only took one out, so you're gonna have to kind of pretend there's two shoes here. He put on the back knee, as you see, and then on the back of the other one is Sid. So he put those on the back of the shoes there. So that's kind of a cool touch. So I definitely appreciated Nick for that. Um, Whenever someone gives you a gift, for me, I always feel like, all right, let me see if I got something on me to give back to you. so, so I appreciated that. Another cool one was my girl Therese. I'm a ball cap wearer, as you guys all know. She got so I never wear snapbacks, but I don't care. It's a white snapback, and she just had some of my favorite people, sign it. Happy birthday and little messages on it like that. So this isn't something that I'm going to wear, but it will be something that sits somewhere here in the office behind me someplace.
Can you
So,
can you show them the underside of the brim? There's a very special signature on the underside of the
oh
brim.
shoot,
Did you see that?
what is it? What does it say? Did you write this?
Yes, it just says "I love you, fam." But
Okay, love you,
that
fam. Okay,
that marker was so dry, I didn't want to fuck
okay.
up
I was like,
that.
so yeah, I can read people, but as you can see, couldn't make out all of that. At first I thought someone was calling me Jewish. I wasn't sure what that was. Um, got some cool stuff. So this is some good stuff here. This is from one of our master debaters who got this for me. Shows how well she knows me. Mary uh, got me some Detroit Lion, a Detroit Lion calendar. So very cool, and they're very good
Nice.
this season. So this is the best time to get me something with the Detroit Lion logo on it, Mary. So well done to you.
Count
Uh,
those L's in real time.
Fuck off, bro. So she also got me. She knows I'm into my shoes, so she got me some sneaker bits. So I'll be using those, I'm sure.
What the hell
Um,
is a sneaker mitt?
Place hand in mitt, wipe, flip, and repeat, sir. All right. So
So
it's
those
clean your
clean your
shoes.
shoes?
Yeah,
Oh,
clean your
okay.
shoes. Yeah, got me
It
some of
tells you how much
those.
I care about the shoes I wear.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I wasn't gonna bring it
These
up.
boots weren't made for walking.
Got me some shower sheets. Sounds like something that you would put in a package if you pissed on them and wanted to sell them. But I'm not sure what shower sheets are. I'm going to have to look more into these here. Soft, gentle, and irritant free, quilted wipe. So it's a wipe. Cleansing without any soap or water. Okay, so this is just for showering, if you will. I guess if I was on the road and couldn't bathe. So this would be good.
That would be great in the Book of Eli.
And when we tour overseas, if we get trapped over somewhere where we can't do it, we'll have that. She got me some hand sanitizer. Again, she knows me. I like shaking hands with people as much as I like using hand sanitizer. So, so there you go. And then I thought these were really cool too. Some trip wipes.
So you
Like,
wipe down the seat when you get on the airplane.
yeah, man. Yeah, man. Mary knows that. Like when I was, I got the hotel room for the night of special. First thing I did was go in there and spray Lysol all over everything. So this was right on point. She did a great job with it. I love her and Ed for it. I want to make sure Ed, her husband, the quiet assassin behind her, gets credit for this stuff too. But those are a few things that I got that I wanted to just make mention. Oh, sorry, and one more thing. Julie says apocalyptic kit. Yes, Julius, I'm ready to go. Um, Dion, what's the young lady's name again? I'm not sure she's watching the show or not, but
Chantel.
Chantel made me a bracelet. She gave one to Dion. I don't know if you guys can read that. Let me try to not zoom in too much there. Anyway, it says debatable on it. Now that's debatable on it.
Yeah, I'm rotating it the wrong way. So it says now that's
Um,
debatable. She made us these bracelets.
yeah, Dion got one first, and I cried like a baby about not getting one. So Dion reached out to her, and she made me one, and Dion gave it to me when he got into town on Thursday. So, very, very cool. Love stuff like this. Trust me, I like money and I like expensive things, but the things that really mean something to me are stuff that people think of, and stuff like this. Because you don't have to do this. She could have told me to fuck off. Dion's my favorite on the show, or she could have said any number one of things, but she could have, but she made it. Mary didn't have to give me shower sheets and whatnot. She could have called me some fucking weirdo who likes to spray Lysol when he goes, but people, you don't have to give me anything. And so when you do, I'm very appreciative of it. So I thank and I love you all for the things that you gave me. But most importantly, I respect you and I thank you and I love you for giving me your time on Saturday and giving us your time every single show that we do here on Facebook Live. That means the world. So
I reiterate his sentiments. Um, I appreciate getting to do the show with you for 3 years now. Uh, we go back to Our World Black and White. It was that 5 years ago.
yeah,
So we've been working together pretty much since we met, and I love doing the shows with you, whether we're agreeing or disagreeing, cutting up or being serious. I always enjoy the time. I thank each and every person that watches our show weekly, whether you listen to it on Spotify or any of the podcast apps, you go watch the replay on YouTube. Everything you guys do to support not only me and Sidney, but the shows that we do is appreciated. So just again, thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of Now That's Debatable. We switched the time up, so normally have a little bit more people in here. But I just want to thank you guys again for rocking with us, no matter what time we do. Sometimes we do the show on Tuesday, sometimes we do it on Wednesday.
yeah,
You guys are, for the most part, always here to support us, and thank you, thank you, thank you.
yeah. So appreciative. Did you have a what the hell or wait one more thing or anything this week?
I kind of did it at the beginning of the show, man, because you guys know how I am when it comes to people at the airport.
Okay.
While I was waiting for my flight, I heard more nothing conversations. Uh, what is the need to sit? Here's my thing, right? Like if you see somebody sitting off by themselves, they've got their book bag or their luggage covering a seat. They clearly want to be left alone. What is it that compels people to go and sit as close as they can and then just be as loud as you want to be? I mean, these two guys, one guy's eating yogurt, he's mixing up his yogurt with his granola and raspberries, and it's just having a merry old gay conversation about absolutely nothing at the top of his lungs when the guy he's talking to is sitting right next to him. I don't understand people not knowing volume control in public. It's the airport.
Yeah,
Nobody
yeah,
wants to hear you talk about why these baseball bats should cost X amount of dollars as opposed to I hope you both get hit with the baseball bats. They were driving me insane. I had my headphones in, music all the way up. I keep getting the alert from iPhone. You should turn your music down. Let me listen to my music as loud as I want to, iPhone. I don't need you telling me about future ear damage. Maybe I don't want to hear shit in the future, okay? Especially these guys rambling on and on. So, man, what the hell? Just shut the fuck up at the airport, please.
100%. Just real quick, How cool, Nick. Someone said about the shoes. Enjoy what you accomplished. I agree with Dion. Congrats, Sidney. Thank you very much. Julia says, bro, those are for pictures only. Yeah, those shoes will only come out for pictures or for me to be on stage, and then we'll take them off as soon as I get off stage, Julia. So you're right about that. Um, uh, yeah, so we love you back. Thank you very much. Definitely appreciate it. I want to say this last thing, and please, guys, hang in there with me. Let me just say this last thing because I talk about this a lot on the show. Um, we always talk about treating people a certain way. You never know who you may affect or how they may affect your life. And so for the show, Dion flew in from Indiana. My brother flew in, and his wife flew in from Cali. I had friends that flew in from Idaho. People drove in from LA. It was great. One of the coolest things was my play sister, if you will, Erica, and her husband Charles surprised me. They flew in from Seattle. I had no idea they were coming. So it was so awesome for people to come in and want to be a part of this night with me and share in it and have a good time. But the thing that was probably above and beyond even the gifts and everything, and no knock to anyone and what you gave me. There was a woman that walked up to me at the end of the show and she said, "Do you remember me?" And I'm not really one to try to. I'm not going to try to lie to you. So I try to remember it, but it just didn't come to me. And she said, "I sat next to you. I want to say this was a couple of years ago when I went to St. Louis, and I performed with Tim Meadows." She said she was retelling the story. "I sat next to you on the plane. You were on your laptop. You were really working on something, but we spoke, and you told me you did stand up, and you just got done, and you was coming back to Phoenix." And she said, "I went on and I started following you on social media right away." And she had never been out to a show before. She said, "But when I saw you were doing your special, she said I have to buy a ticket for me and my husband, and friends, and come out and see you." And so I found that to be a little emotional for me because here I am just in my own world on a flight, trying to do my own thing, speaking to a woman. She asked what I did. I told her. And for whatever reason, it prompted her to follow me on social media and then prompted this woman who didn't know me to buy tickets to come out and see me and support what I was doing. And so I just wanted to share this story because you just never know. You never know who's watching, who's listening, who wants to take part in what you're doing if it's something positive, or who's looking at you if you're doing something negative, and how that may affect you and your world as well. You just never know, and it meant the world to her, to me, for her to come up and share that story because otherwise, I'd have never known that I had any effect on anyone that particular day or that woman specifically. So, um, it was a cool thing to me, and I just want to share that story. So.
That's really dope because you'll never hear me tell a story about some stranger in an airport or an airplane who I told them my business because I do my best to not speak to anyone. If you're not travel with me, don't talk to me. Get away from me.
Brother, when I travel, these are on or my AirPods are on. I don't go out of my way either to because I'm normally coming with a plan to work in the airport and on the plane. But if you do speak to me, I'll have a conversation with you. I will not come directly out and tell you what I do. You're going to have to you do some work to get to that answer. Uh, but but I will eventually if you're nice enough and we talk long enough. But anyway, luckily enough, this one was a very kind woman, and I was very appreciative of her. So.
That's dope. Congratulations on that, man. That
Thanks,
is
man.
really cool.
Thanks, man. Glad you got back home safe. I love you. Till the next time I see you next week and the next time you in Phoenix, brother.
I love you too, my brother. I was so happy to take part in your special day. I was glad I got to witness it. You did a great job again.
Thanks,
And
man.
I'm happy to be home. I'm tired as hell, so we're gonna wrap this up. My final words are: thank you guys for tuning into another episode of Now That's Debatable. Make sure you hit that share button if you haven't already, and tell a friend so that we can keep growing the show.
100%. You guys have yourself a great week. We'll see you next week.